Hi then, Year 11. This is, well, hopefully a guide. It's been the fourth time we've done this, by the way.
Bear it much longer.
So hopefully this will work really, really well. Just quickly saying about where it's going to be saved and all that type of thing. It's this all your resources that we're going to talk about today are on student resources in the usual folders, so product design, and then you know
for your A552
11B, 11Y, and Mrs. the A552 folder. So there shouldn't be any problem with that whatsoever. We're going to start off with this.
So that's the situation that the exam board has given us, called, it's about Clever Clogs Nursery. And so the only thing we don't know is what the challenge is going to be, what they want you to make. And it's going to be one of 4, but only 1 or 2 is going to be relevant to you. But myself and Mr. Sutton will guide you through that on the day of the exam. The 3 things that are highlighted are things that you need to be aware of through all of your briefs and your designs and your specification. Obviously there will be other elements as well, but never lose sight of the fact that whatever you make has got to be educational and fun, and for under 5 years of age.
Which is what we've highlighted, so remember it's educational and fun. And we've got a little bit of a PowerPoint now which shows you some inspiration. We will show you this again on the actual day and go into far more detail. It's the Clever Clogs one, version 2. Let me go right up to the beginning. Basically gives you an inspiration. Remember, it's all about things that are educational and fun. So these are the types of things that you'll hopefully be familiar with and also use for your design. So a lot of mathematics, a lot of constructional play. We've got other things which are about social play as well. So this sort of shop scenario and tools and things like that, and how to annoy your neighbours down here. So loads of those different bits and pieces. Quite an important one. I'll pass over to you, Mr. Moore, for this bit, which is...
On the day of the exam, you'll be given about 5 or 10 minutes to discuss this PowerPoint with the people on your table, and by that point you will already know what the challenge is going to be, so it'll be very relevant. But I've put these slides in purposefully so that you can understand what the development is of a child from 0 to 18 months and so on up to 4 or 5. And secondly, obviously safety is going to be very important, and that's going to feature quite heavily in your specification and all your design ideas. And so these slides give you an overview of the safety precautions you need to be aware of for children's play. It also goes into materials, which is going to be very important for your specification, and also section 5, so plastic, wood and metal, and it will also help you with the manufacturing part of number 18.
So that's the generals of the background to it, nice, straightforward and simple. Now we're going to go through the actual PowerPoint that we have got, which I have got just there. Now this PowerPoint goes through each of the sections, so we're going to go through this, highlight them, and I'll maximise it up so we can get the full screen. And basically this talks about what you need to do in each of these sections, where the key points are. So this is probably the most important part of the video. So here we are. First of all, you've got to choose your challenge. So there will be different challenges. There will be 2 that will be appropriate for us. There will be 1 for food, and there will be 1 for electronics, textiles. So avoid those like the plague, and obviously your name and etc. need to go in there.
You can see that the situation, in this case it was the jungle theme park, as yours is Clever Clogs, and then there's clearly the challenge at the bottom, which is that interactive play equipment. Remember, this is the example, we don't know what you're going to get on the day.
We don't, so there'll be some questions. It will be play related, to do with that Clever Clogs PowerPoint. We don't know what it's going to be. Box number 1,
yeah,
really important this is.
Well, you get 6 minutes. I think you'll need the full 6 minutes on that. Anybody staring into space after 4 minutes, you're doing something wrong.
Definitely.
It's got to be 4 ideas, preferably it's got to be 3D. You can see the example isn't, but that example did get an A grade overall. So if you're going to develop that section a little bit, you would make them 3D. But you can see that they're very strong images. The page looks exciting, and there's brief annotation that highlight the function of each idea.
And you can add the colour. Make sure you can go back when you've got some extra time, and you will probably get extra time because this section down here should be really quick. It will literally take you a minute for each of these bits. Which are your best 3 ideas? So you go, oh, I really like the one that looks like a guy parachuting down, and that's all you need to put in there. The design brief bit, these ones, you're going to be saying, I'm going to design and make a prototype or a model of, and then a quick sentence. So this should take you approximately 6 minutes at the very most, and therefore you've got at least another 2 minutes to go back and do this
Fine
one.
line, add
Oh,
colour.
you'll get a lot of other time to do that to this one, but it's important you get those 4 ideas in there.
This section is your make or break, because that's your brief and your specification. They actually hold a lot of marks, and if you get the brief incorrect, then it could jeopardise the entire project. So you really do need, well, not project, exam, you need to get it right, and it's got to be brief. Stop going into minute detail, just say what it is you're going to make. Okay.
And keep it open-ended. We've got these 2 boxes below, which are your intended clients and users,
Which,
and
you know is going to be under 5
oh,
years
yeah.
of age.
So we know that, unless there's something that comes up in
Preschool.
there, this is pretty much what it's going to be. The intended design will be used in, well, we know it's going to be in a preschool. They might say outside,
Indoor,
might be
outdoor.
indoor, so think about that, but that should be fairly straightforward and simple. It's this bit, box number 4, which is so important. If you don't get anything else from this, this is the most important bit out of the whole video, that they must be quick, concise, they should stick to the Access FM way of doing things, and they should be numbered. The spec absolutely rules throughout the whole of this exam, in fact out of the whole of product design and both exams, and numbering it will mean that you will be able to reference it far easier later on and use that additional space that is on the next page. I don't know if we've got it on there, no we haven't, but there will be some additional space on page 10, I think it is, to use that space, and you'll use it for your pictures as well.
Talk about bullet points.
Bullet points, yeah, please do not just put it, we've had people just put a great big block of text. It's difficult to read, it's very difficult for the examiner to give you marks because they have to find out each bit what you're talking about, and it's difficult for you to reference, whereas this, where you bullet point them and number them, so much easier.
Yeah, absolutely.
Box number 5, your design development. So it is decision time. We do not want to see you redrawing the designs that you did in box number 1. Whatever you do, don't do that. That is absolutely crucial.
You've got to, basically, it's an idea that you've taken from your brief and your specification, and you do 2 different variations of the same idea.
2.
It's the annotation that's going to get you extra marks as well, and that's got to be on materials, it's got to link back to the spec, and it has to be about construction in the real world. So when you label everything, it is not about modelling materials, it is about real world, if you were going to go and make it in a factory.
I can't stress that enough. It is something that's very easy to forget. They do not want you to say, well, I'm going to make it out of cardboard, I'm going to make it out of foam. They want to say it's out of aluminium, it's out of carbon fibre, it's out of mild steel, it's out of polypropylene, not plastic. You know, using those composite materials, and use technical language. They want to see that. Not wood, but oak, pine, not plastic. They want high impact polystyrene or HIPS. They want polypropylene, that type of thing. Acrylic, of course, that you're very familiar with. Stick with those, check those out, and you'll be fine. And when you're doing the reference into the spec, keep it simple. You can just put a bracket, spec, and then whichever spec point it is, like spec 1, spec 2, spec 3, so that you can quickly reference it.
Section 6 is pretty straightforward. It's asking your opinion, but you must relate it back to the brief and the specification at all times. So when you say, what do you think of your ideas so far, it's meaning your 2 ideas, are they matching the brief and the specification? And then when it says, the one that catches children out the most is number D, which is letter D. What problems can you see? That means the problems if it was made in the real world. Have you accounted for height, construction of the material of the product, or the joints the wrong choice, are the materials the wrong choice, is it not ergonomic, is it not comfortable? And that is something you'll need to think about being pre-5-year-olds. Height, for example, and comfort. Can they actually hold it in their hands?
It's very true. And remember, we're referencing it back to that specification. Use the spec points again, that spec 1, spec 2, spec 3, and highlight it like this person has done. It just helps so much. It makes it so much easier for you to see and the examiner to give you marks. Additional space. Yeah. So you can see, really use that space.
If you're not using the additional space for number 5, you've got a problem.
Yeah, you want CD borderline easy. We go on to the 7 and the 8. Box 7 and 8 is so crucial, and as we've said before, you do these reasonably well. These bullet points, always bullet point it, get some feedback in here. But this modification, but you have to have there. You have to have something. Even if the people don't really give you a good modification, make something up. Put something there. It's worth so many marks. It has to be there. Some of you left it blank.
Well, number 7 as well. When you're planning what to ask people, write yourself a question, and it's got to be based around, is it answering the challenge that you were given that morning? And also, is it answering the brief? Is it answering the spec? And also, is it weird and wacky?
Yeah, weird and wacky. Remember, it's an innovation challenge, not something.
Don't
I mean,
want
with the
anything
chair,
normal.
the chair one we did for the mock exam, where so many people took 2 blocks of foam and stuck them together and put some wheels on it. That's not innovation
No,
at all.
not at all.
Box number 9, 25 minutes. This is a good example, really, of a really good
It's a
model.
nice example.
Yeah, it's nice. It shows it fits to. They're looking that if it matches your sketches really well, if it's matching what you've said for your specification, and is it like a little maquette of what you are going to develop and create a bit further on. So it really is. It's got to be on the money, and again annotated as well.
Yeah, yeah, and you will have time to do that because you can go back. In section 10, you've really got to think about, so A is about function, B is about adding something, C is about environmental, think about your 6 R's, and D is how's it going to appeal to your user group. Well, we know the user group are pre-5-year-olds, so is it educational fun? So basically, in that D section, you're going to describe how it is educational and fun. Okay.
And that's really, again, you can relate that back to your spec as well.
Can we just stress one thing as well? Very often with pre-5-year-old toys or educational games, primary and secondary colours are absolutely crucial.
Yeah. Rounded corners as well, so that you've got to think about it being a safety thing. It's got to be safe for children. So you really got to make it nice and safe. No trapping of fingers, no edges that are too sharp, all of that type of thing. Got additional space. Yeah, really make sure that the additional space, you've got to highlight exactly what box it comes from, what its continuation of. The photographs as well, because you'll get extra photographs, and we will say this to you, but we have students that don't do it. Make sure you put a box around them and say, this is a continuation of whatever it is. And make it clear, because if you get a really pedantic and difficult examiner, they might not give you the marks for those bits and those additional parts.
Number 11, myself and Mr Sutton will introduce all of the equipment. You need to remember it and then write down which pieces of modelling material are you going to use for which component. Do not underestimate the amount of marks that gets. Also, you can see on the example on the right, she didn't answer the question very well about how you're going to join materials. So there's some examples on the left, and you must be explicit about what you're using. So you have to name the tape. So don't just say tape, it's got to be masking tape, sellotape, gaffer tape, and then all the other connective like pipe cleaners, string. The next section about CAM and electrical devices, could you make sure you're looking around the room? Because it isn't just about the laser cutter, it may be about using a drilling machine, fret saw, belt sander, anything that's going to help you in the use of, in the production of your prototype.
Yeah, it's that type of thing. What are you going to do? They want to see you planning and thinking ahead, and that's the most important. And this, remember, is just before you go into that big session where you've got the 3 sections where you're going to make. And 12, and that literally
12,
is it. You're demonstrating what you're going to do. You know, they want to know, right, when I come back for the next section, the first things I'm going to do is this, then I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do this. Okay, you might not stick to that plan, but they want to see you thinking about it. They want you to demonstrate that you have the ability to plan ahead.
And look how many minutes it gives you. It gives you deliberately 6 minutes. Why? Because it's going to give you 4 minutes to go back over the first part of your exam paper and embellish, perhaps number 5, for example.
Yes, because number 5 and even box number 1 are always going to need a little bit of extra. I would say with my group, I've always said, box number 5, if you get any extra time, go back to that and make sure you just cover it with references.
Box number 13 is when you come back on the second day, which is just where number 9 is, and really it's just about you going back to the model, digesting what that looked like, making sure you've got a very clear plan of what you're about to do for your first 40 minutes, and that's just about 5 minutes, I think. So we go back to, then at that point you will be going through your 30-40 minute session, and then you will evaluate exactly how do you feel you're getting on.
Oh
And
yes,
then
you've got
you'll
those
go,
on the go make bits
yeah,
just here, the 14, the 15, the
it's
16.
16, and they're just intermittent points at which Mr. Sutton and I will be going around taking photographs of your work, getting all that ready and getting them stuck in. If you look at those models, you can see how that one progressed. Look how fantastic it looks on the end. It's bags of colour and lots and lots and lots of embellishments, and they'll all be available to you, and the use of the back former.
Yeah, in the mock exam we really cut back on materials, but for the real thing you will have that time. And really, if you're finishing up at the end of the second session and you've pretty much done everything, you've not done enough. Think about the functionality of it, how you can make it interesting, and maybe have things opening, closing, some sort of function to it, but also make it look nice as well. That's really important.
So at this point you're really coming almost to the end of your exam. So if you look at section 17, there's a lot for evaluation. I think you have potentially 6 marks to gain on just these 2 sections. And basically it wants you to go back to your specification and brief. It is not that first question about whether you felt you had enough time or not. Nothing to do with it. If you didn't have enough time, then that's your problem. Okay, and they don't want to know about that. The rest of it really is about your brief and specification, and also about moving your piece of work forward if you look at the end of 17. So what could you have done during that process? And it's not about what you could have done further on your model, it's what you could have done further in terms of your design, moving it forward. And then number 18 is just basically spec check. And why? And at the bottom part, manufacturing.
Oh, the manufacturing is so important. Remember, the manufacturing, you should be familiar with that because of the manufacturing part we've done in A553. That really wants you to think, and this bit just here, about the materials you're going to use, but the processes as well. Stuff like CNC milling machines, you've got injection molding, use of materials as well, maybe having semi-skilled workers, jigs, laser cutter. Oh yeah, batch production,
mass production.
you know, all of those things that you're familiar with from doing that section. So really show your knowledge there.
Yeah. Very last thing now, the day after your exam for mine and Mr. Sutton's large groups, you'll come back on the Wednesday. You've got a double lesson anyway, but at the very beginning you will write this time to reflect, and it's just 3 components. What are your strengths in relation to your specification? What are your weaknesses? What didn't you achieve or was not particularly a good spec point? And how you're going to move it forward. Now remember, it is the ideas you are reflecting on, not your model. You do not talk about your model. Not interested in your model.
No, they're not interesting. They're not going to say, "Oh, I wish I'd had a little more time to do this." No other exam that I know gives you the opportunity to go out there, talk with people who have done it, and maybe exchange ideas and opinions about what you did. Come back and sort of go, you know what? This is how I'd like to move it forward. This is what I could do to develop this. I've had to think about it overnight and etc. And this is how it could be made better. That's really what they want to hear.
There's 4 marks for that.
Yeah, 4 marks,
That's
which is a lot.
You've only got 60
yeah,
to play for.
It's you know, it could make a big difference. So make sure that one is done. And that, year 11, is that. So good luck in the exam. Fingers crossed. Hopefully this has been helpful.
Yeah.